Hello. Just to let you know, this week we're going to be working on a project using the software called Desmos.com, and I call it a software, but really it's a website. And the purpose is to definitely get used to manipulating lines and using domain, creating piecewise functions, everything that has to do with Chapter 2. So I'm going to show you how to use the website. So on your computer, if you could type in desmos.com, desmos.com. When you get to this screen, there's this red button that I need you to press, Launch Calculator. In the top right corner, there's a sign in place or create an account. I actually want you to sign in, so click sign in. And then where it says sign in with your Google account, I want you to click that. And when you sign in with your Google account, I want you to use your students.bths201.org. And the first thing I want you to do is change this title. So up here in the corner, Untitled Graph, I want you to click on that. I want you to call it Algebra 2 Name Project. And let's just save it right now, and then we'll send a copy to Google Drive and share it with me later. So Algebra 2 Name and save. I'm going to show you the ending product first and then tell you how to get there. So first off, my first name is Tiffany, but this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to create your name by using different equations and different restrictions. Notice these compound inequalities that we learned last week. Now I realize, whoa, that's really overwhelming, but we're going to have 3 days in the lab to really experiment. And it's kind of, notice all the x equals, the y equals, and we're doing just straight lines. We're not going to deal with curves, so we're going to have our names in just straight letters. Notice how my y is not a curvy y, just straight lettered y. If I put my name back to where you can actually see the axes, it might be helpful to see where we're going to start. Now that you see the ending product, we're going to have several equations, and we are going to have a name, and we're going to share a document with me at the end of this week. So let me go back to a blank and show you how we can construct these letters. So back to a blank. When I click over in this area, this screen down here pops up. I could either use this or use my keyboard to put in any equations. Let's say I put in y equals 2x. I can type it, up pops the line that I see, but we're going to talk about restrictions because in order to create letters, we're not going to have these huge letters. So let's say I want to make that A in my name. And I want this to go from this point up to here. I'm going to cut off this line, and I'm going to cut it, I'm going to only let it see from 0, and this is about 1 on the x-axis. Notice how I'm going to put it up here. I type in, first off, a brace. I go from 0 on the x-axis to 1, and notice how I'm using that compound inequality. So I put in an equation and then I cut it off somehow. Now I need to complete that A. So we're going to talk about, well, to complete the A, I need almost an opposite slope. So what if I use the same equation, but instead of a positive 2x, let's see what a negative 2x does. Notice how when I type it in, it's way over here. I need it to be over here. So let's see, I need this point to move to the right, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So something that I could possibly try, if you need to move something right or left, let's maybe put in parentheses something that does with a 4. Whoops, that made it move left. What if I subtract 4? Ooh, maybe I just need to do it 2. Oh, so I subtract 2. And notice it's lining up. Now I just need to cut it off using those restrictions. So notice how up here I'm going to put in restrictions. I only want this graph from, it looks like about 1 on the x-axis to 2. So I'm going to start it with 1, and then maybe use these buttons down here, less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2. I'm going to close that brace, and notice how in the picture I've got the second part of my A. And I need something that goes across there. To do a horizontal line, I need a y equals and then a number. Looks like that number might be 1. I put in y equals 1. I notice how that line goes across, but I want to cut it off. Now, notice the indices. This is about 1/2, and this is about 1.5. So when I do my restrictions, I'm going to need to make it from 1/2 to 1.5. So I put in 1/2 to 1.5. It doesn't do mixed numbers, by the way. To put in a fraction, we could use the division sign. When you put in here, and I'll go on the next screen, when you put 1 divided by 2, it automatically puts it in fraction form. You just have to move your arrow key. So where's the arrow key? You could move the arrow key just over 1 to get out of that. Let's say I developed this A in the wrong place and I want to move it over. Because my full name is Tiffany, so what if I need this either way over here, or what if I need this over to the right more, so I've placed, or maybe I want to move it up. I don't know, but I'm going to have to play around with the equations and the restrictions. So if that's where this experimenting comes in with this project. I'm not going to tell you everything. I just want to get you an idea of, we're going to be using equations. We're going to be using compound inequalities. Sometimes we may not have a y equals equation. So I'm going to show you an example of what if we did x equals. So I put in the equation x equals -3. Like, what if I have something that needs a straight up and down line? That's when we use x equals. But then in my restriction, so if I want to go from here to here, I'm going to restrict my y-axis, or my y coordinates. So watch my restriction that I type. So what I type is, I wanted it from 0 on the y-axis, over here, 0 on the y-axis, up to 2. When you want something vertically, when you have a vertical line, you're going to have to restrict your y's. Everything else, slant lines, whenever we had a slanty line, we restricted our x's. When we had even a horizontal line, we restricted our x's. But when we have a vertical line, you're going to have to restrict your y's. Now, if I don't like the placement, I may have to adjust either the equation or the inequality. So this week, your goal is to create your name using all these lines and restrictions. Email me or text me using the remind if you have any questions.